owner Jerry Buss has filed a lawsuit against her 5 siblings to block the sale of the siblings' 17.8% ownership of the Lakers to Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. Iger and Kushner have an agreement with Lakers owner Mark Walter to buy the team from Walter for $12.5 billion. 5 of Buss's children have agreed to sell their percentage to Iger and Kushner. Jeannie is holding out because she feels the Buss name should maintain some percentage of the Lakers with the new ownership group. The sale is not official until the NBA Board of Governors vote to give formal approval. The next owners meeting is in September in New York City. The Dodgers lost another one-run game in Atlanta Wednesday night, 6-5. The Braves got a 2-out pinch hit single in the bottom of the ninth to win it. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley.
Culture in my lifetime has been as impactful, if not more impactful, than politics or law or any other pursuit or business. You know, I like to say culture is undefeated.
Culture is undefeated. That's what Council President Marquise Harris Dawson says, and you know what? He's right. Culture is undefeated. But here's the problem. You don't get to celebrate the culture while ignoring the people who created it. And that's where this procrastination Crenshaw conversation gets real. As you know, the community sent a formal letter to Harris Dawson. We're still waiting for an official response from the city. The deadline is Friday, September 4th. But in the interim, Harris Dawson penned an open letter to the community. Okay, that's fine, but responding is not the same as answering. That said, let's not confuse fixing the parking, repairing the streetlights, and repaving streets and sidewalks with finishing Destination Crenshaw. The community was promised a transformational project. So, where is it? When is this thing going to be finished? The council president says the project is being delivered on a timeline. What timeline? That's not an unreasonable question, and that's not an attack. It's not division. That is accountability. And then there's the business interruption money. So in his letter, Harris Dawson says that more than $1 million went to Doolin's on Crenshaw, and additional assistance went to a few other individuals. Oh, really? Who received the money? How much money? And who didn't? I can assure you a whole lot of folk didn't get that money. How do I know? I'm getting the phone calls. You see, transparency should not scare anybody. That's how accountability works, and that's why in our letter, we ask for an audit. But instead, what do we get? A discussion about Tavis Smiley, the pastor, the parishioners, the business owners, the people asking the questions, their motives, their ambitions, their character. Well, let me tell you something. When you can't answer the questions, attacking, insulting, and gaslighting the persons asking the questions doesn't make the questions disappear. It just makes people ask why you won't answer it. Let me be clear. We don't want to fight with the council president. We want the project finished because the people of Crenshaw are not on the sidelines, Mr. President. They are Crenshaw. And if culture really is undefeated, then respect the culture, respect the people, respect the businesses, and most importantly, respect the questions. Now, answer them. The Crenshaw Corridor community is still waiting, and September 4th is fast approaching. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Just talking louder and saying nothing and saying nothing.
Yeah, it's for the people. This is street radio for unsung hero. Riding in the Rego, trying to stay legal. My daughter found Nemo, I found a new primo. Yeah, you know how we do it for the people and the struggle of the brothers and the folks, the lovers of the dope. Experiment to discover hope, scuffle for notes. The rougher I wrote, times was harder. Went from rock starter to the voice of a martyr. Why white folk focus on dogs and yoga? My people on the low end trying to ball and get over. Lyrics are like liquor for the fallen soldier. From the bounce to the ounce, it's all our culture. Every day we hustling, trying to get them customers. Law, we ain't trusting them. Thick bras, we lusting them. Sick and tired of punching it. I look on the bus at them. When I see them struggling, I think I'm touching them. The people.
About the people. Mark 1580 sure is. Look, so as I've mentioned, there are actions taking place all over the country and all over the world this weekend. I feel like if it wasn't kicked off over last weekend, it's kicked off today. We've got the super red eclipse going down. We have at least 22 cities that I know of that are doing solidarity actions with Carmelo Anthony this weekend, standing with Carmelo after he was denied a new trial. But of course, his attorneys will appeal that. He was granted a new judge and denied a new trial, which doesn't even make sense, because if the judge was biased enough to remove him, why wouldn't he be biased enough to merit a new trial? Well, it makes sense if you know small town Mississippi. So that's going on. We mentioned, that there is an anniversary celebration for the Durban Reparations Conference. It's the 25th anniversary of the World Conference Against Racism. And so in celebration of that, there are reparations events taking place globally. And so if you are not taking part in one of those, you may create your own. Of course, we will be having our reparations discussion tomorrow. As always, we'll be joined tomorrow by Dr. Marcus Anthony Hunter to discuss reparations. His book is Radical Reparations, and it is our Freedman Friday conversation that we do every week. Right now, though, on this Think Tank Thursday, we are being joined by the senior pastor of the Fifth Christian Church. He says he's committed to the liberation of black folks and black communities, divesting from police, prisons, and all other institutions of harm toward black people. He says his faith calls him to think about abolition in a theological frame. Boy, that sounds like a whole Think Tank Thursday conversation in itself. Pastor Evan Regi Bunch, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, and good morning to you all over there on the West Coast.
Yeah,
good morning.
I know you probably miss us because you spent a good amount of time here in LA as well, even though it's like 11 degrees right now.
Oh, nice.
It's a real heat wave. But you have continued your work even though you have moved around and continued to pastor in different places and continued your studies. Your advocacy work is still also at the core of what you do, right?
Absolutely. I'm also currently just started a PhD in sustainability education, and it's right on time because my worst fears are coming to pass. COVID-19 taught me that America does not care about black people, and with the right president, another natural disaster could bring up tremendous harm to black folks. So I'm getting my own PhD in sustainability. What does it mean to build wind turbines in the black community? What does it mean to build food ecosystems in the black community? What does it mean to make the black community sustainable? And so that's my next stage of my life right now.
Wow, and that tracks with just what Miles and I were talking about with this whole AI, fear mongering, but also the crazy environmental impacts of it, and the way that our food supply is just being poisoned by this current administration. How
Correct.
We take things into our own hands and how we create sustainable communities is definitely, like you said, right on time. I mean, if you were
Absolutely.
Vaguely considering it before, it needs to be front and center because, diarrhea lettuce is not a naturally occurring, phenomena. Those are the choices of this administration in deregulating the food supply, getting rid of the, basically defanging the FDA, unleashing all of these poisons in the form of banned pesticides that are back into our food supply, introducing the lab meat. It's like, with between that and Gary and Memphis being without power, it definitely calls into question exactly what you're saying, Pastor.
And these are black communities. We think about Gary, Indiana. We think about black folks. We think about Memphis. We think about black people. When you think about Flint, Michigan, who still doesn't have clean water, we're thinking about black people. And so who's having the conversations around how do we build sustainable communities, as we know now that environmental disasters are not waiting for us to be ready. So it's going to be really important for us to get ready, because America is not going to get us ready.
Oh my gosh! I mean that flood in Nepal. These are the things that in Nepal and Tibet. These are the things that really, should serve as wake-up calls. I mean, hundreds of people dead, and that was because a glacier collapsed. That's the climate emergency, right? It has to be.
That's correct. Absolutely. And we used, I'll say we, but I'll insult my own self. I used to just think environmental disasters were not coming my way. But the news headlines have been clear. Flint, Michigan has been clear. COVID definitely was clear. And now with the contaminated food, with the power outages, with the more AI and the kind of pillaging of our resources, that's only going to benefit a few. We're seeing the consequences of that right now, present day, and we need to get ready yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you'll have to come back, and we'll have to do a show focused on that. I know that you are working on the case of Frank Tyson, and that's a conversation that, to some extent, I think has been a little bit drowned out by all of the just slew of theft of freedom and theft of life that we have seen in 2026 so far. We'll get into that when we come forward. Who is Frank Tyson, and what is happening with this case, and what can we do to help? Pastor Evan Regi Bunch is with us, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
What's good, KBLA delegation? I am Miles Lowe, and I'm excited to be joining the weekend lineup right here on KBLA Talk 1580. Join me every Saturday at 12 noon for the Do Better Show, where we get into the world of tech, AI, the creator economy, navigating your mental health through it all, and have conversations with founders to find out how real people are making real money right now. It's not a course, not a subscription. Class is in session every weekend, live on the air. If you knew better, you do better, right? So let's make a better you. The Do Better Show, every Saturday, 12 noon, and replaying again at 7 p.m. right here on Unapologetically Progressive KBLA Talk 1580. We got a lot to talk.
The KBLA 1580 app puts the realest conversations right in your pocket. Stream live wherever you are in the world. No static. No searching the dial. A crystal clear connection 24/7, exactly when you want it. We recommend that you keep automatic updates enabled. Set it and forget it. So the app stays up to date with store requirements, bug fixes, and new features as we roll them out. Download the KBLA 1580 app today and stay plugged into the conversation everyone's having.
As a fitness coach, my active psoriatic arthritis can slow me down. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, I'm treating my skin and joint symptoms so I can keep moving. Skyrizi, a prescription-only injection for adults, helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And for those who have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible. With Skyrizi, there's no daily dosing. It's just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
I'm an Eat and Fire hero. I was trapped there January 7th, 2025, so I was awarded the Carnegie American Red Cross and the Kiwanis Lifesaver Award. So, to me, this looks like a slow burn. You constantly see Dr. Hardy, Pastor Caldwell, Mr. Smiley here. Their business is slowly impacted. Now, in Altadena, it was a quick burn. Everybody left. Everybody got priced out. They didn't have enough money to stay afloat. They couldn't rebuild their property. So, to me, this is a target for the developers. In my opinion, having been in Altadena for 18 months, still today, I still feed all of those people there because they're still displaced because they can't afford to come back. So what do? They move down to the Inland Empire, or they just call it a day and they go back to another state. So it's important to hold leadership accountable because as of right now, they've abdicated their responsibility. They just show up for the cameras and they don't even come to see you.
Keeping them in check. We're KBLA, Talk 1580.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
And we're talking with Pastor Evan Rigi Bunch. So, Pastor, talk to me about Frank Tyson. This is a man who was killed by police in 2024. What happened? And this is in Ohio. What happened, and where are we now?
So, Frank Tyson on April 18th of 2024 was murdered by police officers Bo Shonegi and Camden Birch. He died in police custody. It was there where we can see on body cam footage the officers kneeling on Frank Tyson's upper body while Frank Tyson repeatedly said, "I can't breathe." Those infamous words, "I can't breathe." And then he lay there unresponsive for over 5 minutes before those same officers took the time to check his pulse. Not only did they not check his pulse, they were even cussing at him while he was lying on the ground with their knee on his upper body. The county coroner did rule the death a homicide, so this was a murder. There was a cardiopulmonary arrest that did take place. Those officers were indicted. And so for 2 years, from 2024 to 2026, the family of Frank Tyson was there every step of the way. His brother John Tyson, his brother Melvin Tyson, felt every month, every day, every year of this case. By the time we got to trial in August of 2026, this particular month, we were going into the trial when the officers tried to get plea deals, and one officer did not want the plea deal, but the other officer did, which triggered for this to go straight into trial. So on the first day of trial, trying to pick the juries, the officers, both of them, saw the overwhelming weight of the court to put the reckless homicide charge on one officer if the other officer did not plead. So that forced both officers to get a plea deal. The family has taken this as a victory because in a city like Canton, Ohio, police officers do not get indicted, let alone convicted. But these officers were convicted of, both of them, there were misdemeanors. Shonagi, a second-degree misdemeanor of dereliction of duty. Camden Birch, a fourth-degree misdemeanor charge of failure to report a crime, with the sentencing coming up on September 24, 2026, where the family can make their impact statements. and Black Lives Matter Canton will continue to organize for justice and transparency and accountability there in Canton, Ohio.
So it's a victory in the sense that they are convicted. I mean, they have these misdemeanors. What do you think? I mean, I know you've been working on this case, working with the family, advocating on their behalf. What do you think changed those officers' mind? I mean, did they see there were a lot of black people showing up for jury duty? I mean, what happened?
Well, I think the first thing we saw was not only this was on Canton. This was on this. It was like a cultural shift. If you know anything about the state of Ohio, it's a blood red state. Canton, it's a very blood red city. Really, pro police. Even the prosecutor that was indicting the officers was a pro police, and unashamedly to say pro police. But even he had to say these officers were wrong, and he therefore took up the case to prosecute these police officers. And so I think what got to the conviction was the weight of the organizing from the families. They would not let this go. At first there was a indictment, and then the first prosecutor dropped the case, but the family said, "Well, where's the next prosecutor?" And so we had to wait and see until the next prosecutor came. We made sure he didn't drop the case. So this, and then by the time we got to closer and closer to trial, and plea deals were becoming more of a question. As one officer was for the plea deal, and the other officer wasn't, so that's what triggered dropping the plea deal. On the first day of trial, the judge went ahead and, how do I want to say this, went ahead and motivated the officers to take the plea deal.
Really?
By the one officer who didn't want to take the plea deal, the judge said, "Well, is this a package plea deal? Did one officer take it and one officer didn't?" And the prosecutor said, "No, it's not a package deal." So one officer took the plea, and now the reckless homicide charge was only on one officer. That officer was going to get convicted of that charge if he did not take that plea deal. So
one of the reasons this surprises me, Pastor Bunch, and I appreciate what you're saying about the activism of Black Lives Matter Canton and the family. I feel like more and more families, justice families, those who have had their loved ones' lives stolen, have turned around and become activists because they feel they have no choice, or because they feel that that's the only way to bring something out positive out of a horrible tragedy. But in this environment, with this president and this Department of Justice, we have also seen, like in the Winco case here in the Inland Empire in Southern California, the Trump Justice Department step in and offer a post-conviction plea deals and try to reduce sentences and get cops off even when they are convicted, which is, from what I understand, less than 2% of the less than 2% that are even brought to trial. So I'm surprised they would take a plea deal, because I kind of feel like they would look at the January 6th, traitors and some of these cop cases being overturned and think, well, Trump's got our back.
that is correct. Yeah. So, I mean, it shows you the insidious nature of white supremacy that has created this police culture, but also policing in the first place. This was not meant to protect people, let alone black people, okay? Was not meant to protect the people. And with people like Trump as president, with people like the prosecutor in L.A. County as the prosecutor, they know how to wield their power in just the right way. I'm sorry, not just the right way, as the system works,
Mm-hmm.
to not hold police officers accountable, let alone federal officers.
Yeah. Well, Jerry Anderson is in my YouTube chat saying this is a loss because they're going to probably just get time served. But I think what you're saying is that they got the conviction.
Correct. That is correct. And that's good for the long haul fight of justice, right? Because police officers do not get convicted. And yes, I had to, yes, to that person in the YouTube comments, it feels like a loss, right? But the victory in all of this is that we're getting victories.
Yeah.
You may say these are kind of small, but when you're there for 2 years, watching, waiting for the indictment, watching a prosecutor drop the case, and we had to wait for another prosecutor, watching plea deals come in and plea deals drop, and watching a family go through the re-traumatization process of being re-traumatized, watching that body cam video over and over again, watching Frank Tyson's brother go through the chemo and the cancer process as he's continuing to fight for justice for his brother. There is a victory in this. And BLM Canton and that family is owning that victory of a conviction to better the fight down the road.
Yeah, well,
there is a victory there.
And I imagine that there'll be a civil suit, and that
Absolutely.
that conviction will also help the family in that sense. Time flies when you're on the radio, Pastor Regi Bunch. Tell us how to contact you or Black Lives Matter Canton, or how people can tap in and be part of the solution here.
Well, Black Lives Matter Canton, Ohio does have their Instagram page open. The organizer down there is the Yolanda Johnson, leading the chapter of Black Lives Matter Canton, Ohio. And I'm just proud to be one of the organizers as well. But they have a lead organizer, Sister Yolanda Johnson down there. You can follow her up both on Facebook, but also you can follow the Instagram page, BLM Canton, Ohio. And be on the lookout for September 24th, as the family will be giving their family impact statements at the sentencing hearing.
Yeah, which is another, kind of victory, I imagine, for the family to be able to, speak and hopefully influence the sentencing of these two cops who pleaded to misdemeanors.
Yeah.
But Pastor Evan Regi Bunch, thank you for checking in with us. Thank you for the work that you're doing there, as well as in the pulpit.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be speaking with Jamaica Marshall next. I want to talk about this big settlement yesterday with Meta. She is the executive director of the STEM Collective. Stay with me after news, traffic, and sports, only right here.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump is escalating his criticism of Canada, saying the country has taken advantage of the U.S. for years.
They charge tariffs that are unbelievable, like on milk, 400%.
Speaking on the Glenn Beck program, Trump defended tariffs on some Canadian goods and joked about renaming Lake Ontario Lake America. Deloitte is paying $21.5 million to settle claims from the Trump administration that its hiring and workplace practices discriminated based on race and sex. The agreement comes as the Justice Department continues scrutinizing corporate DEI programs tied to federal contractors. And Sony says more than 550 movies and TV shows will disappear from some PlayStation users' libraries on September 1st due to expiring licensing agreements. The move affects customers in the UK and other regions, renewing concerns about digital ownership of purchased content. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
There is more drama with the Lakers sale. Jeannie Buss, one of 6 children of former Lakers owner Jerry Buss, has filed a lawsuit against her 5 siblings to block the sale of the siblings' 17.8% ownership of the Lakers to Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. Iger and Kushner have an agreement with Lakers owner Mark Walter to buy the team from Walter for $12.5 billion. 5 of Buss's children have agreed to sell their percentage to Iger and Kushner. Jeannie is holding out because she feels the Buss name should maintain some percentage of the Lakers with the new ownership group. The sale is not official until the NBA Board of Governors vote to give formal approval. The next owners meeting is in September in New York City. The Dodgers lost another one-run game in Atlanta Wednesday night, 6-5. The Braves got a 2-out pinch hit single in the bottom of the 9th to win it. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Our voices aren't the minority opinion. They're the American conscience. This is KBLA Talk 1580.
This is America.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Let's do this. When the political stakes are this high, you need a source you can trust. KBLA Talk 1580. Los Angeles is home for politics all the way to November. Stay informed. Stay ahead.
This is America.
Noise in here this evening. And close the doors because we gonna party in here all night tonight.
The choice is yours.
They're all coming to one stage, one day, one event.
Are you ready?
It's the California Voices Town Hall and Ballot Forum, Saturday, October 3rd. Look who's talking. Javier Becerra and Steve Hilton, Karen Bass and Nithya Raman, Robert Luna and Alex Villanueva, City Attorney candidates John McKinney and Marissa Roy, plus Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kolinakis, Attorney General Rob Bonta, Secretary of State Dr. Shirley Weber, State Controller Malia Cohen, and other candidates running for statewide office, all discussing the issues that matter most to you.
The choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Plus, a full breakdown of all the ballot propositions. This is the event where California decides. One day, all the voices, our stage turns every 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And you can't beat that with a bat.
It's the California Voices Town Hall and Ballot Forum, Saturday, October 3rd, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Community Voter Education Project. Mark your calendar now. Make plans to join us live and stay tuned for more details. All the other stations are covering the election. We're putting you in the room. We're KBLA Talk 1580, where the candidates come to you.
You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you get with this. This is where it's at, where it's at, where it's at, where it's at. Come on.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You do, and I'm happy to bring into the conversation a native Angelino who spent her whole career working toward economic equity and social justice for Black and Brown communities across the United States. She directed the Advancement Project, California's LAPD reform efforts. She was led its Urban Peace Institute as a policy manager. She worked as vice president of programs for the LA Urban League and is now the executive director of the STEM Collective. Jamaica Marshall, welcome.
Good morning, Dominique. How are you?
Good, good, good. I'm reading your unstoppable resume here, and I'm thinking we should have had you on earlier in the show when Miles and I were arguing about the equity implications of AI, but perhaps that's another show for another day.
Yeah, lots going on there too. So this is very much related, though.
So this week, the giant company Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram and also WhatsApp, was confronted in court. Well, the possibility of a full trial. They started in court with 29 attorneys general from different states suing over social media and its impact on kids and the intentional addicting of kids to these platforms. And at the last minute, well, after I think one day of testimony, the Meta settled. What do you make of that?
Well, I make of it that there's a lot going on with folks thinking about the screen time and the number of hours our kids are spending on social media and online. And I think that the research is becoming almost undeniably clear that these apps and these platforms are having a net negative effect on our teenagers and our youth, especially, with early brain development. And I think it's some stuff that, the public isn't even aware of yet. Like the layman hasn't even been made aware of, because the research is so strong that Meta, like you said, after just one day of testimony before Zuckerberg could even testify, they were ready to settle for this $18 billion. And so I think that the research is very clear, and that the evidence is probably really strong that these apps and these executives at these companies know about the research. They know about the safety concerns, and they are using the technology, the algorithms, the AI to overcome our teenagers and, our kind of parental strengthening that we're giving our kids to kind of navigate these things. They're using the AI and their tools to even overcome those, to make these apps even more addictive. And I think that would have came out and is coming out more and more in the evidence of the emails with the executives and the conversations that they're having. Not only do they know that these platforms are not safe, they are actively trying to undercut whatever safety protocols that parents and the teenagers themselves are implementing to limit their time on those apps. And so I think it's very, very clear that this is not a good sign. Even though it was a very small award, and there's going to be a lot of chatter about, was it big enough? I think the writing is on the wall for Meta and these other platforms that there's going to be more to come. People are going to hold them more and more accountable for what's happening with teenagers and our youth.
So you said you call it small. 18 billion doesn't sound small to the untrained ear.
Yeah. So it's small because remember now, Meta has a $1.5 trillion market cap. So a few billion dollars for us, that's, more than we can conceptualize. But this is pocket change, literally, Dominique, to an organization like Meta. This is a few days of earnings. This is not a lot of money. And their settlement, I think, includes a payout over some years. So this is not something they're going to have to pay out.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years, right? So this is not something that they're going to feel in the least. And so a few states, including California, were a part of this lawsuit, but there are some states like Florida who are not a part of the lawsuit, and they feel the Attorney General for Florida has come out and said, that's peanuts, and we really want to, that Florida really wants to bring the lawsuit to court, go to trial, and really push for a number that's going to, make investors and shareholders at Meta no, they need to do something. And he doesn't feel this $18 billion is that number. And I think a lot of school districts who are also, there's thousands of lawsuits right now against Meta and these other social media platforms. They're all moving forward at different levels in the courts. And they are all demanding real accountability. So it's not enough for them to say, hey, putting these restrictions and the things that Meta kind of has agreed to. They want an honest and open accounting to say, yes, we've been trying to get these, kids addicted. Yes, our platforms have been facilitating, mental health distress, cyberbullying, even sexual exploitation of these youth. So I think folks on that side want to see more accountability and open admission from these platforms that, hey, they are up to some nefarious things and they're going to have a real commitment to change it. So this is a good start. And I think Californians can be proud of the work that our Attorney General Bonta has been doing, been leading the charge. When he first started this, a lot of people said, this is hopeless. They're too big to fail. You're not going to be able to get any concessions from them. And so I think this is a good start. And the Attorney General Bonta will say himself that, this is a start. This is not the end of the conversation. But I think that it's important because it labels, what it is that's causing the distress. It's asking them to put in real structures that are going to mitigate and in some cases maybe hopefully eliminate some of the problems and the safety issues. However, a lot of school districts are saying, and Florida is saying, this doesn't go far enough.
Yeah, well, a couple things. Is Meta, is Big Tech the new tobacco? I mean, these are the attorneys general, but that doesn't mean that individuals won't continue to sue, that different industries won't continue to sue. And I guess the total now is $25 billion if you count New Mexico's win against Facebook, and this settlement. Still, like you said, peanuts for them, but could this be the beginning of a bigger sort of array of settlements like what we saw with Big Tobacco?
I think that's a great analogy. If you ask parents, teachers, schools, and plenty of laymen, I think that is an excellent analogy. I think in terms of the public health crisis, in terms of what is some of the biggest safety concerns for our youth, especially our teenagers, I think social media, you can't get any more scarier than social media. And I also believe that a lot of it stems from the way these applications and these platforms do business, right? Because all of the algorithms and the AI and what they're giving and feeding the youth and what they're allowing to happen on these platforms is all covered in a shroud of mystery. And so because folks don't know what it is, it's even more scarier that we don't know that, what are the safety concerns, what is really at risk. And so I absolutely believe that's a great analogy. This is not going to go away. People are not going to stop being concerned. A lot of the lawsuits stem not just around the mental health and distress, the cyberbullying and things like that are happening with youth. There's also the criminal element, right, with the sexual exploitation and the way that these platforms facilitate and make it easy and don't put in protections that other platforms like radio or television or even our phone systems are all regulated under. They have rules that you can't just do everything, right? You can't advertise everything, and social media isn't bound by those rules. And so I think legally this is a strategy that will push them in the courts, that hopefully they'll say, maybe now these companies, and not just, we say Meta, but Google and TikTok, these are also big, huge players that are kind of escaping scrutiny right now because a lot of it is focused on Meta. But having all these companies come to the table and say, hey, let's talk about regulation. Maybe we won't fight regulation to this degree when, every other day we're getting a $100 billion, lawsuit, or in this case, an $18 billion lawsuit. Maybe regulation isn't so bad. So I think this is a strategy for folks who are concerned with safety, especially those in law enforcement and those in education, and say, hey, if we can't get them to the table on the regulatory side, let's take them to court.
Yeah. I want to talk about whether these new regulations work, what they are, and will they last when we come forward. We're speaking with Jamika Marshall, talking about that giant, well, apparently it's not giant. Sounds giant to me, but tiny Meta settlement on yesterday. And we will continue the conversation when we come forward, only right here.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Just in case you missed our Procrastination Crenshaw Town Hall.
My name is Asata Umoja. I'm with the Hyde Park Organizational Partnership for Empowerment, which is at the southern end of Crenshaw. And this community has been greatly impacted. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we're most concerned about is just being totally neglected. And what I mean is being excluded from the process. When this project first started, they should have made sure that our organization, since we were most impacted, was in there. So we've been excluded, and we've seen commercial properties be taken for art projects. And we're very concerned about these are spaces that could help build economic growth and development in the community. And what this community needs more of is economic development, not art. I mean, I like art. It's a good thing. But they're putting the cart before the horse. Because without a solid economic foundation, what they are calling cultural tourism absolutely has no significance and no meaning. And this community is going under if we don't stop and do something to help build that economic foundation and support the businesses that are the tax base for this community to build the kind of services that we need. And the response from our leadership is totally inadequate.
Holding them accountable. We're KBLA, Talk 1580.
Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction.
Hear that? That's Alka-Seltzer, the sound of fast heartburn relief. Because when heartburn hits, you want something that works fast. Quick! Alka-Seltzer. Alka-Seltzer effervescent tablets start neutralizing stomach acid in seconds, so nothing works faster for heartburn relief. Next time, when that burning feeling comes on strong, don't wait. Quick! Alka-Seltzer. Try Alka-Seltzer. Use as directed.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima. Taking care of our aging loved ones is always a top priority. But do you know that the rising cost of the long-term skilled nursing home can easily exceed $10,000 a month? Be aware that that cost isn't covered by health insurance, Medicare, or the VA. Even short nursing home stays can wipe out your family savings. Attorney Zoran Basic and his firm, Nursing Home Solutions, can help most middle-class families qualify for nursing home benefits to be paid by the state. You've heard Zoran Basic on my show, and you remember that these are benefits that you have earned. Protect your assets that have taken a lifetime to build. Keep the savings, the family home, and the business. Call Zoran at Nursing Home Solutions at 800-773-6467. Nursing Home Solutions does not require in-person meetings. The phone number is 800-773-6467. That's 800-773-6467, or log on to nhscare.com for Nursing Home Solutions.
Broadcasting live from Lamert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
Jamaica Marshall's here. She is the executive director of the STEM Collective. I'm talking about this meta deal. And my one of my colleagues, who happens to be an attorney, asked a question that I was wondering myself, because I already know. I know I'm addicted to Instagram. I really can get on there and just lose hours if I'm not really strict with myself. So if it's proven that it is addictive for kids, doesn't that mean that's addictive for adults? And obviously that's not part of this this settlement whatsoever.
Right. That's correct. And, you know, there's a lot of things that are addictive for adults out here. And the legal case and the legal standing is that adults have, you know, the wherewithal to have the discipline to say, hey, I may have a problem, I may need help, let me try some other interventions, let me try these other things. A child doesn't have that ability.
I mean,
right?
I get that, but also there are restrictions. You can't sell heroin at the 7-Eleven. I mean, just for example, fentanyl is not available at Target. You know, so
Absolutely.
There could be implications moving forward. Let's talk about the restrictions. What are they? What do they look like for teenagers, and how enforceable are they? Because right now they're age-based, so I can just say I'm 18 and I get around it, right?
Absolutely. So that is a great question. And I think that is a big question mark that is still out. I think what the Attorney General Bonta and the other attorney generals in this lawsuit wanted to do was to get the settlement to get a recognition by Meta that they need to do more around safety. A lot of the things that what I read about the protocols that they're going to set up for safety for youth include things that TikTok already does. For instance, if you sign up on TikTok for a teen account, you can't go, you're very restricted in your ability to go live, how many hours you can spend on the app before it cuts you off, your ability to link the account with a parent, and so both share passwords and both share access to it. So a lot of those things are already in place. Also for YouTube, if you sign up with a teen account. But there, you nailed it, Dominique. A lot of teens are signing up as just a regular adult account, and because these platforms continue to allow for anonymous sign up, meaning you don't have to really show any identification or proof that you are who you say you are to join. You just need an email address. Any kid or any teenager who signs up with an adult account won't fall under those restrictions and really will have full access. Now, in terms of the best practices, I think those tools are kind of like bare minimum, right? And so if you look at advocates like Family Safety Online and other advocates who are working on these issues, I think they say those types of restrictions are really bare minimum. They are not going to really protect kids because, as you said, adults, are falling victim to social media addiction. And so it's really going to take having an open conversation with your child, with your teenager about your expectations, and really having a really ongoing engagement with your child in their online life to really bring the safety that needs to happen. But ultimately, these lawsuits are important because in the conversation that you want to have with your child or even with yourself about your, social media habits, we need to understand what's happening to us. Right? Because when you first start, you're going on Instagram and you're like, I have a problem. I'm not disciplined or I need to get off here. But you're not understanding what the particular tricks and tools that the platform is using to keep you on. So if you know more and you understand more about what they are doing to kind of trick your brain into continuing to stay on the app, you can get better about kind of overcoming some of those measures. And so we need these apps and these platforms to be honest about what they're doing to trick our brains into this addiction.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, and if you're a parent, it does seem like it's still, a lot of it is going to be on you, but at least there is an account, which I guess they limit them. They're going to limit them to 2 hours of scrolling per day, and they won't be able to scroll at night. Again, I don't know how enforceable this is or how much it will last. There is a feature that says that if YouTube and of the settlement, that says if YouTube and I think TikTok take up the same controls, then there's an extra $5 billion added in. But is that you're saying that a lot of those controls are already there on YouTube and TikTok, but they also are going to have to pay their own, I guess, pay billions as well.
I will say this is not to in any way excuse Google and TikTok and these other platforms. I think they have as many issues and some different issues, but still troubling issues just as well as Meta. But because TikTok came under increased scrutiny over the past couple of years about its ownership and that whole issue, it was forced to kind of put in some additional controls that Meta resisted for so long. And I don't understand why Meta has resisted these kind of teen safety protocols for so long. I do not understand why they thought this was a good idea, but they just were more resistant to having anything. And so TikTok and YouTube had some, but again, they are not as strong as what is agreed to in this settlement. And they're not as, like you said, really, we don't have any information. It's not like their safety teams are coming back and reporting, here's how many teams signed up, here's how many. So we don't have any numbers and we don't have any data about how effective any of what they do have really actually is.
Yeah, I mean, and there's another factor too, which is, Australia banned teens from social media. Some European countries say you can't use before age 16. But kids are, technologically, a lot of them are smarter than their parents. So they're just getting a VPN or they're logging in from their parents' account. So apparently that Australia ban is not really working. But I guess to your point, you got to start somewhere, and the acknowledgement of the harm is a really good feature of this conversation and this settlement.
I think so. So, you may be aware, I'm sure you're aware of LAUSD kind of limiting screen time. And this is after years of, I'm old enough to remember the controversy of Superintendent Bauer when he bought all the iPads for the students and said, I want every LAUSD student to have an iPad. And if you have a school-age child, like I do, they were carrying those iPads every day since COVID, back and forth to school. iPads and technology was really integrated into curriculum. They have Schoology and like all of these different apps
terrible.
that they use.
Yeah.
Which they use regularly for curriculum, for education, for even getting assignments and doing actual assignments online. And so I can't overstate how big of a change this is now. Like in this new school year, no iPads. They are doing a lot of they're back to writing.
I've been talking about that a lot because I feel like, parents probably need massive doses of Xanax. It's like all of a sudden they're dealing with a bunch of little junkies, not really the teachers more than the parents, because you're just going to cold turkey all these kids after you got them addicted. That's wild to me.
Right. So, but ultimately though, we're at the beginning and we're at the forefront of it. So this is the analogy to the Australia ban. So basically, they're trying to create an environment, a different culture change, right? Mm-hmm. And so now you're not everything. There's some time when your brain is free from screens. Right. And so here's a place, kind of a safe space at school where you're not. And so regardless of kind of what your screen time is at home or what other things that you're doing, we're having focus time where you're not on the screen. And I think that's what the ban does. And that's what these limits on that the settlement agreed to for Meta is doing, right? They're saying ultimately, yes, kids can sneak around and they can do, but it's no longer normalized.
Right.
It's no longer normalized.
Absolutely.
That every single person on the bus and every single one of your friends and everybody has this. So when you come to your parents, well, I want TikTok and all my friends have it.
Yep.
No, all your friends don't because it's banned.
Jamika Marshall, we got to go. Thank you so much for joining this morning. Tell us how to find the STEM Collective.
One final thing I just want to say, Common Sense Media, Family Online Safety, and your local school district, go online, parents. If you have questions or you want to, have some materials to help your child stay safe online, those resources are available for you. Thank you, Dominique.
Okay, thank you, Jamika. We will be talking with poet, musician, and actor Saul Williams next on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump is escalating his criticism of Canada, saying the country has taken advantage of the U.S. for years.
They charge tariffs that are unbelievable, like on milk, 400%.
Speaking on the Glenn Beck program, Trump defended tariffs on some Canadian goods and joked about renaming Lake Ontario Lake America. Deloitte is paying $21.5 million to settle claims from the Trump administration that its hiring and workplace practices discriminated based on race and sex. The agreement comes as the Justice Department continues scrutinizing corporate DEI programs tied